Safety and belonging. Dear Lench, there is something that no one ever told me about being a young person that I want to explain for the first time. When you're growing up and when you're living life, one of the very first needs a human being requires is that of safety. You need to feel physically safe in the environment that you are in. One of the other important human needs is that craving we all have for a sense of belonging. In your story, right away, there was an unhealthy, unintended hierarchy that the school system introduced. This hierarchy made you feel both physically unsafe and desperate, looking around to see where you belonged. You and I both know that we felt different, and that was not a good thing in this brand new environment. Let's talk about gangs. First of all, I'm sorry no one ever sat you down and told you that one of the things in life you would have to deal with is gangs. I'm sorry no one ever told you how scary and violent they could be. These kids in the gangs in your neighborhood and your school were scary. You saw a lot of the bad stuff they did. You saw them shoot people, jump each other, and beat up people who didn't deserve to be beaten up. That's all true. Let me tell you what's also true. All of these kids also wanted safety too, and they were scared. They didn't deal with safety the way you did. You could go home. You could rest assured that Danny, Mark, and Hector would help you if they needed to. You could create safety for yourselves. Those kids couldn't, so they formed a gang to be safe. A lot of those kids didn't have a family the way you had a family. Growing up, all the kids on Hermosa Street without a mom and dad wanted mom and pops to be their parents. They wanted to be part of the Gomez family. You already were. A lot of those kids chose the gangs to be their family. It wasn't healthy, but that's where they found their sense of belonging. They belonged to a family that did hurtful things and it wasn't cool. You belong to a family that loves you, and that's a good thing. Don't look at these kids as evil, terrible people because they're just trying to get what you had waiting for you at home. They were still kids. They grew up on the streets, but you didn't. They were kids from San Antonio with a mom and a dad, brothers and sisters. They were in those gangs, but they also wanted to live a life of safety and belonging, just like you. You know what is also true? They were not all bad kids. You describe them all as gang members and troublemakers, but I want you to know that it's not true. Lots of them were good kids. Some of them never got into trouble or went out of their way to get into trouble. That is also true. You just don't remember those kids because you were too busy focusing on the bad ones so you could be safe. But you can't label them all as bad because that is not true. It's not either or. The truth is there were bad kids and there were also good kids. Don't tell yourself the story that everyone on the West Side was bad because it will poison your mind. One of the foundations of human development is the need to feel physically safe. In fact, it's the kids on the West Side who didn't know that's what was happening, but to be safe, you had to be in a gang, even if you didn't call it a gang. Nature was taking its course in which a bunch of people needed to be safe, and the number one way to be safe was to not be alone. At the time, you felt vulnerable because you weren't part of a gang, you had no protection, and you stuck out as an easy target for them to take out whatever garbage they were dealing with. Without joining a gang, the message you sent was, I don't belong to anyone. And maybe they translated it as, nobody wants that guy, so he's got to have something wrong with him. And so it's easy for me to pick on someone that nobody wants. The truth is, you did belong. You were wanted, and there was nothing wrong with you. Don't believe the lies.